Welcome to the third installment of Amazing Eye Appeal, MLB Hall of Famers' best looking cards. If you're new to this series, I'll suggest you go check out 4 Collectors, as that's where you'll find the first 2 videos. I'll put the links below so you may check them out, and feel free to subscribe to them while you're at it. As for now, let's kick things off with the first Hall of Famer. To me, there isn't a better looking card in the 77 set from Topps than with this one from Carlton Fisk. The image of Pudge and Willie Randolph having a close play at the plate is what makes baseball so dramatic. The 11-time All-Star is the last line of defense, looking to keep anyone from scoring. It's plays like this that makes him such an elite field general at catcher. The design of the card is simplistic, allowing for the picture to do most of the talking. And the signature on the bottom is a nice touch, which actually looks serendipitous as its placement is out of the way, yet shines on its own with the light-colored dirt. Overall, this is a perfect card of the one Hall of Famer, Mr. Carlton Fisk.
The 1962 Topps set is one of my favorite designs because it takes you back to being a kid when your heroes were larger than life. The player photograph, set against a faux wood border, gives the impression of a poster that is being slapped onto a fence or the wall of a child's room. Before the image is flattened, you get a glimpse of the player's name, team, and position. I chose the 1962 Topps of Ron Santo as my favorite card of his because it showcases him in a posed fielding shot. While he certainly could handle the bat, Santo was known as a stellar defensive third baseman who won 5 consecutive Gold Gloves between 1964 and 1968. Johnny Bench said this of Santo: "As a fielder, no one hustled more and covered as much ground as Ron Santo." I also love the blue of the Cubs uniform and how it complements the rich brown on the card's border, making this card a wonderful fit for any vintage card collection.
This 1967 card of Joe Morgan, to me, is a great example of him. Topps managed to capture one of the best second basemen in such a stoic pose. Now, if you're wondering why, of all cards, my favorite choice is with the card representing him out of a Reds uni, well, it's because batting stances is one of the ways we all remember a player for. I would often mimic some of the greats, along with friends in a playground or a little league field. It's almost the identity of a player. With Joe Morgan, I can always envision him with his left elbow twitching, right before every pitch. A twitch which helped him become a force offensively, help him win 2 MVPs in the years he helped bring home 2 championships. Now, the design of the card I like because it's simplistic enough not to detract from the image. Lastly, the signature by his shoulders helps illustrate the fact, here I am and I'm here to stay. At second, that is, not Houston. Well, anyway, here's Terry, who prefers a different example of Mr. Joe Morgan.
Well, James, the 1967 Topps Joe Morgan is a nice card. But the best card of Joe Morgan has to be on the Cincinnati Reds. The team that made the 5'7" second baseman, who was small in stature, into one of the giants of the era. Now, I chose the 1975 Topps because of the combination of design, color, and a pleasing image of Morgan sporting those 70s sideburns as he casually swings the bat, wearing the bright white double-knit polyester pullovers and the Sansa belt that became the Red standard look for 2 decades. Now, the card has a striking red and yellow split design that has the team name prominently displayed in large light blue lettering. The card is capped off with a large white star on the bottom, confirming his place as one of the game's brightest stars and the spark plug of the Big Red Machine.
Hall of Fame great Sam Crawford was a beast in the dead ball era. To be able to represent him with a big, unique card like with this Deech postcard from 1907 is an honor. This was a man with immense talent to send a ball flying to parts unknown. He was generally regarded as the strongest hitter of his day, and I think this card helps illustrate this. You can tell he's built stocky with tree trunk legs, and he kind of reminds me of a modern day Jim Thome. It helped him generate so much power that he was able to set the all-time record in triples with 309, a record which will never be broken. And now, if you think he was just a feast of famine hitter, his 309 career average coupled with a high of 378 in 1911 lets you know he was a great all-around player. On the back, it also helps describe how great this player was with a quote stating, "As a distance hitter and sure fielder, he has no peer." And that is the one and only Mr. Wahoo Sam Crawford.
I have a fondness for cards that feature two prominent players in an action shot, and this 1997 Topps Craig Biggio is one of the best. Here you have Biggio getting the speedy Barry Bonds out at second. These are the days before the slim Bonds turned into the incredible bulk. The cloud of dust generated by Bonds' slide makes his legs barely visible as if he's floating on air. The determined look on Biggio's face with his hand in the glove shows he's getting ready to fire over to first to complete the double play. Did he get it? Who knows, but the image draws you into the excitement of one of baseball's most beautiful plays. As with the Derek Jeter I spoke about in the last episode, the 1997 Topps set is a classy design with the gold touches highlighting the player's name and the team logo in the upper right corner.
When it comes to the lefty great Warren Spahn, I find there's no example better than with his 1950 Bowman card.
Not so fast, James. While I do agree the image in the 1950 card is great, so great in fact they used it again with his 51 card. But for me, I like his 1952 Bowman example the best.
Whoa, Terry. How can you compare the 1952 to the 1950? I mean, just look at the wind-up pose of a young Warren Spahn. It's a classic pose reminiscent of a Bugs Bunny cartoon.
Sure, it's a classic pose, but what I like about my card is you got Spahn's glove tucked in, but you have that left hand going forward with those two fingers protruding out at the end, as if he just threw a four-seam fastball.
Terry, I see it more as a peekaboo picture as Spahn is simply playing around with his photographer. With my example, there is no mistaking the greatness that was Mr. Warren Spahn on the mound. What with those sharp metal spikes coming at you in 3D?
Think what you will about your card, James. I gravitate to mine, not just for the picture of Spahn, but also for the overall design as well. Yours is plain and simple, but mine has this interesting background with an arrow pointing you to the grandstands, which harkens you back to Braves Field. And this is further illustrated with the B on Spahn's cap. On top of that, I love the old vintage signature. It takes you back to the days when players took pride in their signatures. Your card is missing those attributes, which makes this one really stand out.
Okay, Terry, you've got me on the bells and whistles, but haven't you heard of the saying less is more? I choose to rather dissect the smallest of details which the artist painstakingly took time to perfect, like with the worn out grass leading to dirt, coupled with the many hues and colors in order to create depth, and to the rustic fence behind them, which is battered and bruised in order to break up the uniformity along the edges.
Well, if you like details, James, my 52 gives you details, such as the cropping of Spahn. It allows you to get a closer up view of Spahn's face. And the Spahn I grew up with was gray and much older than this younger version. But another feature that really captures me is that he's looking off to the left, away from the photographer, and it makes me wonder, what's capturing his attention at that moment?
All good points, Terry, but have you really seen Warren Spahn? He kinda has the face only a mother could love. I prefer a much more distant pic of him, one in which I can appreciate an old vintage feel, like with his multicolored stirrups, which gives you great contrast with his uniform, a look which is no longer celebrated much by today's players.
Well, James, I guess in the end, we'll just have to agree to disagree on this one. I'm sticking with my 1952 Bowman Warren Spahn any day.
You're right, Terry. This will be a classic case of different strokes for different folks, my friend. Larry Walker looks great to me in this 1991 Rookies card by Topps, but actually issued by Toys R Us. The design of the card, coupled with the image of Walker, makes for a card very pleasing to the eyes. A young Larry Walker is taking a sweet hack at a ball he sent screaming up the middle. His classic Expo powder blue uniform with red piping logo and number is actually picked up beautifully by the Reds in the Toys R Us logo and lettering in the 91 collection edition. The blue underneath that helps to bring together the picture of Walker. The yellow in the nameplate, border, and swirl plate help frame out the picture nicely. Lastly, the black border of the card help bring out everything within the design, colors, and picture to the point where this card simply pops. This is a great looking card if I do say so myself.
There are certain cards that you look at and think, this is the card that captures the essence of who that player was. That is how I feel when I look at this 1979 Topps Goose Gossage. This may be the most unusual looking card in the set. Here we have Goose finishing his delivery with his 6'3" frame contorted in a manner that makes him look like the bird he was named after. I like how it captures the force behind his pitch as his right leg is sweeping across his body, making him look like he's nearly out of control. The simplicity of the 1979 Topps design with the thin top and side borders allows this wonderful action shot to take center stage.
Man, oh man, the late great Roy Halladay was surely one of a kind. And that's why I chose this Timeless Treasures card by Russ to represent Mr. Halladay with. This card is from 2004 and has a regal, one-of-a-kind type design. Its black and white, blurred-out crowd behind Hall of Famer Doc Holliday helps him look like he's on a pedestal. And the foil copper framing, only found in 1 of 100, encases the picture and help add color to an otherwise colorless card in black, which dissipates into the crowd, eerily lending to the thought that Roy Halladay's greatness was on borrowed time. Almost similar to the way I look at Thurman Munson's 71 card. This once-in-a-lifetime Hall of Famer pitched best when the lights shine brightest, like in 2010, in which he pitched a no-hitter against the Reds in the postseason. And it's no accident he shines brightly with this card by Russ.
My favorite Ted Williams card is the 1954 Topps yellow background. Fresh off signing the Splendid Splinter to appear in the 54 set, Topps inserts him as the bookends of the set, leading the way with card number 1 and ending with this beautiful card number 250. Here we have dual images of arguably the game's greatest hitter. In the background, there's the black and white full body image of Williams' majestic backswing with his head tilted up as he gazes into the distance. In the foreground, we have a beautiful full-color portrait of Teddy Ballgame sporting a crooked smile. This image captures perfectly the supremely confident Williams and his movie star good looks. Ted was often compared to John Wayne because of his larger-than-life appearance and blunt speaking style. But the difference is, Ted was the real-life hero that the Duke portrayed in the movies. The card design reflects the 1950s with a clean and bright yellow background, and then in the upper left corner, you have this fun logo of a red cartoon sock with the bottom of the red sock acting as this giant jutting chin, complete with a cap and bat, getting ready to swing at a pitch. All in all, this card captures the player and the era perfectly. Now here is James with his favorite Ted Williams.
Thanks, Terry. It is hard to argue with your choice to represent Mr. Williams with, but I do prefer his 1951 Bowman example just a smidge more. I mean, what other way would you want to see the splendid Splinter depicted in than by swinging the bat, of course? Ted is captured here looking out into the stratosphere at an imaginary bomb he's just launched. He's got nice details with the shading in his uni and the red piping along his leg and chest, and it's broken up by the blues in his cap and sleeves. But what I love the most is the background. It's a card that just keeps on giving and giving. Above his head, you'll see the heavenly puffy clouds. And behind Ted, you'll see the oldest standing stadium in Fenway Park. And the crowd in the stands helps give life to the scene, while blurred out just enough to keep the focus on Ted Williams. And the last bit of the stadium I love is towards Ted's right hip. You'll notice the wall carved out properly, which would later be known as Pesky's pole. Every stadium has its characteristics, and this card captures it, along with the man that made history numerous of times in Fenway Park. That's why I love this card. And now, this concludes this installment, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as Terry and I had making it. Stay tuned for a lot more videos as we're just scratching the surface of all these great Hall of Fame cards and the players. Until then, happy hunting when it comes to cards, and stay safe and be blessed. See you on the next one. Bye.